on. So I took Dr. Q's class, right? No, not his class. It was our advisor's class, Marianne's class, and she. I wrote a paper on disability in the arts, the performing arts specifically. So like dance was a big part of it, and it was like something so obviously inaccessible as dance. Like, is there even room for people with disabilities, performers with disabilities? And there's this really cool book from a dancer. I think she uses a wheelchair. I forgot her name now.
Oh, I actually know exactly who you're talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
I think she does ballet, or she did ballet.
I remember seeing her in one of my classes here, actually.
Really? Oh man.
No, like I mean like a video.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It was really if I could find it. But she explained how like dance isn't like the concept of dance itself isn't inaccessible. It's how we've how we've made it inaccessible, and how the image of ballet is just like slender, like person who can like stand up straight and do the what I don't know. Hi there, you here for DDA? Yeah, sorry, a lot of us are late right now, so I'm Simon, by the way.
I'm Trace.
Nice to meet you.
I'm
That's really cool. I need to look that up.
Yeah, and she was saying how it was like we've kind of separated, categorized dancers into like the slender, svelte. I don't know, like if that's a word, but svelte beauty, and then like everything else is grotesque. Like everything like protruding. Hi, DT.
Right.
It's okay. and so it was like super, and then that goes into like any art form. There's like this meritocracy of like if you can match this model of like beauty, then you're good. If not, then you're like
ballet was always made like since the origins. Ballet was always like that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's just how it's been like made up, built up on.
But it was really interesting. I was looking at more of like how in the audiences, how you make it more accessible for people, and like I saw some companies actually recently have been doing that.
Oh, like professional companies?
Professional companies like English National Ballet said that they were like allowing visually impaired people to come up on stage and feel all the props and like have the dancers walk through them, like the costumes, and then feel the costumes. It's really cool. That's something that ballet is so behind in everything. That was really actually
the arts, like the classical arts in general, are like really behind. Like like they want to keep the tradition as much as possible because they think that's sort of valuable about it. But it's not. That's not all that's valuable. Like history is valuable, but that's not everything. Yeah, you can sit here. Yeah, we're talking about how in lieu of Dan's sustainability event, we're just talking about disability in the arts. And I actually wrote a paper on it though, for Marianne's class. And hey, Simran.
So how was the event?
I didn't go. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Trent went.
Yeah.
Trent.
And then I was reading on assignment.
Oh no.
Running way longer than
no, that's so unfortunate. But Trent was our DDA representative at the event. He said it was good, and he said that the house was packed.
Oh,
yeah. And so, yeah, it was apparently really, really good. Like the film was surpassed his expectations. So,
the nice thing is it's on YouTube, so like
it is.
You can pay it's like $4.
Oh, we could have like a screening. It's another screening. Yeah, I didn't know it was on YouTube. Huh? Because I thought that Dan was saying how Turner Films, Turner Classic Movies, yeah. They were like trying to keep it so that it's licensed under them and so that they can continue doing the screenings.
I saw it on YouTube posted October 5th last year.
Huh. It's good. I guess we can get started. I had like I had a community GBM in mind where we could spend more time doing just discussion. We do have a couple announcements / updates on the task forces that we do. I was hoping that Brian could be here to update us on the curriculum task force. But we could start with the Cultural Center task force. We have a couple exciting things to announce, which I think is really exciting actually. So, I don't know, DT, do you want to update us?
Friday, October 4th at 2 p.m. She suggested we do this very Bennett. I'm yet to be on that. So, rumor has it that he's people pleaser with a very busy schedule. So, like knows what to say to keep people happy, but it's hard to get time with him. So, if he can join us for like our main that would be great. If not, we can set up another time to meet with him. But yeah, if you guys are available, please come. People we have the better, and it's just like I think it would be a matter of just getting her up to speed on like what we're all about and where things have been going, where we want them to go, and ideally we want to have the supplementary report on like disability centers and other college campuses done by them. If you guys can help us work on that, that'd be great. I still have to do my part, so but yeah, it's exciting because I think it really administrators tend to have like an open ear to like what other peer institutions are doing. So if they hear like, oh, these colleges have a disability culture, so that might help gain some more traction. But she seems open to like talking with us. So.
Right. And for everybody who doesn't know who Mary Pat McMahon. Well, she's.
Yeah, she's the new Larry Mineta or the vice provost of student affairs.
Student affairs, yeah. So, she and then Gary Bennett is the vice president of undergraduate education, right? Yeah. So, we can talk to them. And I think about the this task force. I think we have a meeting scheduled at 4. Though, it's not. Kevin hasn't.
We don't know the location yet.
And
but
Kevin,
the time
yeah.
is tentatively set for 4.
I didn't know the time until you asked. You were like, the meeting at 4 today or tomorrow. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
I think we're gonna try for Saturdays at 4. I know last week we didn't meet because we didn't really have an update about whether we're gonna be able to meet with Mary Pat McMahon. But now we know, so I think hopefully we should be all set to meet at 4. I guess as long as we can find the location.
Yeah. So, I guess we can move on. The curriculum task force, since Brian's not here, I'll just announce their meeting time. Actually, I have to find this. So, the curriculum task force, we're still planning on looking over. So, Brian went through some archival information actually to look at past developments of like initiatives and curriculums. It's really cool, actually. It was a great idea. Because, like the development of the global health program here and the ICS, yeah. And so, we're probably going to discuss some of that. They've announced that they're meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Project Room 2 in the Edge. And so that's in Bostock Library. So, and the ASL task force is also meeting tomorrow as well, right? Yeah. Is it open access?
Okay. Yeah, like I've been copying events from the calendar to my personal calendar. So
oh, interesting. Yeah, I've been adding to it, but I didn't know other people would see it.
Yeah, I think as long as you have the link, then
I can link the DDA calendar to everybody then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, but I guess this is the meeting for the curriculum task force would be like kind of like the first, because we had our first preliminary one, but it was very like setting everything up. And then ASL, this is the first of the year, isn't it? Yeah. And that's with a lot of people from the ASL club and a lot of other people actually. But Trent And Jay, you guys are still doing the maps things, right?
Yeah, so we're waiting to hear from Manish Kumar
Okay.
on that. So he's the guy. He is on DSG. I think he's a VP this year. I think he's equity and outreach.
No, he's academic.
Oh wait, sorry. Yes. So he's kind of leading the charge on that. So hopefully we'll be meeting sometime soon.
Okay.
I know we made a lot of progress last year. Like we ended up with an actual physical map.
Like the prototype, right?
Yeah. So hopefully we'll make a lot more progress this year. So yeah.
Good. Awesome. I'm excited to see that too. So I just want to see a 3D printed map, especially.
Yeah, and there's also the kind of a software piece to it, where there are some people
scanning the actual floor plans, right?
Yeah, looking at the actual floor plans and trying to model the flow of people to determine accessibility and kind of create a scale for accessibility almost.
Interesting.
And then we'll hopefully be able to provide that information to people when they're building new buildings, and also to figure out which accessibility issues to prioritize. So if anyone is interested in that, they get to work with AWS, doing cloud services stuff. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know what either of those things are, but
Amazon.
oh, is that
So basically
server
they have
stuff?
servers. That
okay.
They're doing this work on.
Cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Well, last thing is we're sending out a DDA exec interest form. I guess today with our recap. So if you're interested in joining exec, we're currently looking for, but it's not limited to, but we're currently looking for a new treasurer because Trent is a senior. I already forgot. Oh, a new secretary and our outreach and publicity chair. So yeah, that'll come out with our recap email today. So cool. Oh, I guess we forgot to do introductions at the beginning. So let's do introductions now. I'm Simon. I'm the president of DDA. I'm a junior. And let's see. This week, I'm just going to say something good that happened this week. This week, I should have prepared beforehand what I had to say, but I went to volunteer at a Hillcrest Convalescent Center, which is a nursing home. And I got to talk with really cool people there. The residents there have fun stories to tell, and they're so grateful. They're all really happy that you're there, even though that you're just sitting there and talking. So, yeah.
Next, hey everyone. I know I'm not on camera here, but my name is Jay. I was a former president of Duke Disability Alliance, I guess 2 years ago now. So something good that happened this week. I don't know. I haven't prepared either.
It's a hard question.
I don't know. I don't have class on Friday, so that's a good thing that happens every week.
I'm so jealous.
So yeah.
How do people pull that off? My roommate has not had class on Fridays since second semester freshman year.
Oh wow.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I guess those are twice a week, and he's also AMI, so he's once a week classes.
What's AMI?
Art of the moving image.
Oh, yeah.
So it's film technique and I don't know. You can ask him probably.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Shreyas. I'm currently a freshman, and I guess something good that happened this week was we ended up spending 3 hours yesterday just playing random board games. So
oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Which board game?
So we started off playing Codename.
It's a good one. Oh,
Yeah.
also a good one.
Twilight Struggle.
I have it in my room.
It's so good.
Oh yes! Oh my god!
It's so good. It takes so long.
It
but
does.
It's so
Right.
good.
Oh my god.
The game is called Struggle. Like
What?
it's like Twilight Struggle. It's a struggle to
Yeah,
get through
it's
it.
so
It's
good.
long, right?
It's
Yeah.
it's like about the Cold War.
Oh my
It's
god.
like the
cool.
USSR versus the US, and like
Yeah.
you want to like it's a 2-player game, and then
It's like a huge board.
it's a board, and like you can like go and like conquer like different
Yeah,
territories.
so fun.
Isn't it like Catan?
Except it's like you would do it across every continent.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
It like starts off, mainly on like in Asia and Europe,
Right.
and Africa, and then like later on in the game, it like starts playing on in the Americas.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
We should bring it next time. For our meeting.
I live in.
Oh,
Nice.
of course.
Of course.
Hi everyone, I'm Deepti. I'm a senior, also former president of DBA last year. I'm studying local health and public policy. And one good thing that happened in this past week, I had Thai food after a while. I went to Thai at Main Street last night. And it was pretty good. I did Dunkin' noodles. Would recommend. It's like pretty good food for a place.
Thai on Main.
It's literally called Thai at Main Street.
Oh, at
Oh.
Main.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like on Main Street. Like if you just sort of go like off of East Campus and just keep walking down the straight line.
Okay. Okay. Hi, I'm Simran. I am activism chair of DBA. I'm a sophomore. Thought I was gonna major in PMS until like this semester. Now I think I want to do a program too with disability studies.
Mm.
Intertwined with like a lot of media stuff, and so that's that. And something interesting. It's Saturday today. Okay, so not much interesting for the week, but I guess for the weekend, and not tomorrow, today, yesterday, I guess it was my friend's birthday yesterday. So
Oh.
we threw him a surprise party, and like he's never done anything for his birthday, but it's his 20th birthday, so he like decided to go all out. He hit his 20s, not 18, so he like had a birthday dinner yesterday with friends, and then we threw a surprise party, and then today his parents are coming up with another dinner. It's like,
Wow.
we're like, we have nothing else to do but
This whole week is going to be
celebrate his birthday.
celebrations. It's going to be like Christmas, the 12 days of Christmas. Oh, the 20 days of Christmas. It should be 20 days.
Yeah.
And then you can get behind in all your class.
It's what you do for his 20th. I don't know what you do for his 21st.
Oh, God.
I'll be 21 at that time, so.
It goes back to like not celebrating.
I'm Hannah. I'm a junior studying math and bio. Yesterday was my mom's birthday, so I got to go home because I'm from Chapel Hill and celebrate with her. And she was really happy.
That's so fun.
Happy belated birthday.
You say 40th?
No,
Oh.
it's not 40.
Oh, I was like, oh.
That's super young.
Okay, so what I had planned today, I'm just gonna reiterate why I wanted to do these community events. So back when I was a freshman and I took Dr. Q's class, I've said this like about 100 times now, but I mean, that was the whole reason I was interested in disability activism in the first place. And for context, that class was a disability studies and representation class. And so I wanted to join DDA because I was looking for like an outlet to discuss more with people, like share and like hear more experiences and opinions and et cetera, and so that I could like develop a better sense of what disability as an identity should be and can be really. So I guess these community events, I wanted to be sort of serve as that medium to kind of discuss relevant topics to life on campus and just in general for those kinds of things. I was planning on having it be more like, oh, like we have snacks and stuff and whatnot, but we don't have funding for that yet. Trent's working on that. And so, but I have like a list of some topics.
Just real quick, do we have anybody on the chat?
We do. 2 people, I guess.
Yeah, do they? I don't know if they want to like introduce themselves.
Oh yeah, if you want to, if you're in the chat, I forgot about this. Sorry, but if you're in the chat and would like to introduce yourselves, it says nobody's in the chat per se.
Oh, that's too bad.
But for the people listening, if you want to join chat and introduce yourselves, feel free to. I'm keeping an eye on chat, so it won't just like pass by. And feel free to interact through chat in our discussions. So yeah. But yeah, I wanted to keep this meeting less of a meeting sort and more of like a open, like we can talk about whatever we want. And so yeah. I guess. And if you guys have anything you guys want to discuss, feel free to bring it up too. Or these are just a list of examples that I was thinking to discuss. So the first thing was like, I guess sometimes I forget about why we're doing these the initiatives behind our task forces, and so I guess there's a lot of red tape we have to get through for like developing a curriculum, getting ASL approved, a lot of technical stuff with the mapping things. But I like to remind myself that especially like for the cultural center, the goal of the cultural center is to really serve as a hub for developing community around disability, and like how should I say, kind of removing the stigma off of disability and as an identity, because I feel like, and we've gotten responses like in our surveys that are like, oh, I don't want to really publicize or go to the central location and show that I have a disability, and that's like stemming from the stigma, like I don't want to be identified as having a disability in the first place. And so a question would be like, what first steps can we take to destigmatize disability as an identity? You can see that I'm not very articulate, but like before this cultural center, which is our somewhat of a penultimate goal, I suppose, like a big step towards our goal. What do we see on campus now that's maybe like stopping that, that keeping that stigma there, and what is being done that can lift it? Hard question, I guess.
Could you just zoom in on the document a bit if you don't mind?
Sorry, I didn't type in that.
Like kind of like what makes a disabled person feel like they're disabled on campus? Like, do they take that as the stigma, or is it more just like the view of them from other people? So like, is it like what they go through their daily life? Like, I do like there isn't much accommodation, like, or if it is there, it's like when they're walking with their friends and then they can't get into the classrooms and to go all the way around. Like, they feel inconvenienced. They feel like they're not like, kind of just like part of Duke. They're just like they have to like kind of like wiggle their way around. And I guess that might be a way of them feeling, like make them realize that they're disabled. As maybe it's not intended to make them realize that, because whoever made those accessible routes was like, oh, okay, this will be good for that person. They'll be able to go around. But the fact that it's like all the way around the building, or it's like takes like maybe 5 minutes longer or something like that, it makes them realize that they're disabled, and that could be a stigma that's developed. Or it could just be like the general perception of them from other people, or some like the main stereotype that people do give, like, okay, they're kind of different, and that might be coming off on other people. Like, I don't know, like I don't have like that experience to like say anything, but if I was with someone and then they were like kind of like they had that perception of me. That could be another stigma that would have developed. So it really just depends on the different types of stigma that there are and how we can tackle those individually.
And I heard just yesterday I heard an interesting use of the word disability, and it wasn't necessarily like in a very typical way that people like refer to, like, oh, I have a impairment and that equals disability, right? It was more like, I think it was in the context of Duke doing something that would put a disability on its students, and that kind of relates to like how you were saying, like, oh, this is gonna like change accessibility for everybody, and that is in and of itself a disability, and it's imposed by Duke, or like the institution or the environment or the people around you, which is like, I was super surprised to hear someone use the word disability for that, So, and I don't think he had the intention of like, in this context either, like, understanding what disability, kind of how it's imposed or who creates disability, because it's not created by, one of the big themes of like disability studies, and I think it's like really important to understand, is it's not created by the impairment or the whatever, I guess like neurodiversity. It's not created by neurodiversity itself. It's like it's created by the people around them, and like the recognition of difference. Yeah, what'd you say?
The perception.
The perception, yeah. Just looking for the word. I was like,
Yeah, I think the two biggest things that I see that kind of create stigma are, one, I think there are times on this campus when I don't feel valued. I think that ties in similar into what you were saying. For one example about like the accessibility of campus, when you have buildings like languages that are inaccessible, and like for this one course that I'm in, like they scheduled like half of the office hours for the course in languages. And obvious, I think like if I reach out to them, I think that we could work out a solution to that. But the fact that you would put any event at the outset in a building that's not accessible just makes me feel less valued. Makes me feel like people don't care as much about people with disabilities as they do about other people. So I think that's definitely one piece of it. The other piece is that I feel like it's hard for people to kind of relate to the life that I live, and I think it does feel kind of isolating, and I think it kind of makes it hard to speak out about what it's like to live with a disability, even though that's definitely very important, and that's speaking out about disability is one of the things that can help dispel stigma, but the stigma is often the thing keeping it in. Like for example, I have like people who come and help me out on campus, and like that's not an experience that other people can relate to, if they have to have someone there who's kind of like following them around and like helping them out. And like if like someone doesn't show up, if like your aide doesn't show up on a particular day, that's like it's not an insignificant disruption, but then like it's kind of like, if I talk about that to someone, is it really going to like, are they going to be able to relate to that? Is it going to mean anything, or is it just going to be kind of like an awkward bit of conversation because like they don't really know how to respond to that? So I think that's the relating to other people. That's also the second piece of it.
And I guess I'm kind of going off of both those points. There's like another situation, like you were like saying how there's office hours that were not accessible, right? Like one of my friends, he was on crutches first semester freshman year, and so like two things happened. One, he had something out of his room he could do to like really tiny little handoff, just because like he couldn't access his room when he was on crutches, and then like he wanted to take classes, but the classes were on the second or third floor of the building, and he couldn't take that class just because it was inaccessible. And I imagine like the people who were like disabled for the whole time at Duke, like there's probably so many classes that they just can't take because they're in inaccessible locations. And I think that that's like also something that we need to address either at the same time as or before the cultural center, because even if there is a cultural center, they can't they won't make the most of their time at Duke without going to these classes or like things that they want to go to. Like they came here for their education and think that if they're feeling that they're not kind of included in that, that's something that like Duke needs to address, because if they keep like promoting about how they're such a really good institution, they're like really accepting, they're trying to help everybody. If they're at the same time that they're doing things that not everyone can do, it's completely contradictory to like I guess everything.
So if I can just clear that up, actually, so SDAO will actually move classes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
so this is something that I've had to avail of in the past.
Okay.
Basically,
Oh gosh.
even if I haven't had to, I haven't even had to necessarily reach out to them. But if I sign up for a class that's not in an accessible location, like it's in languages, like they'll just go ahead and move that class. Yeah, because so I think you do have to get an accommodation from them in terms of like meaning accessible classroom locations. But especially if someone has like some crutches, for example, they can definitely get that. So that at least is not much of an issue. But the office hours, I think, are different. I don't know what authority SDA has over that.
Things that aren't like officially scheduled in like a class, like club meetings and such. Obviously, Duke doesn't have any jurisdiction of where you decide to hold your meeting. So that's a problem. Like SEO can't make someone who's holding a GBM in languages to move. And I think clubs, I don't know, are clubs still actively holding meetings?
That was a DSG.
That was a DSG mandate. So that things like that is like we're progressing. I think that's like really good progress towards creating an awareness behind. And I guess physical accessibility is a good place to start, but we also have to remember like invisible disabilities also deal with a lot of accessibility issues. I guess like availability of resources, class resources, I guess, in available formats. So if you need to use a screen reader, or if you need to, or maybe just the environment itself is not sensory friendly. And I don't know, Naira Ikram, who founded Autoimmune Campus Alliance, ACA, and she really focuses on this invisibility disability that creates like stress and like the compounding, that how that can compound on you. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Like I don't know, maybe Simran, you probably know better, like the exact wording she'd use. For ACA, like she mentioned this a lot to me, like stress busting, and like how stress can be in and of itself seems like a disability put on people, like for those with like maybe anxiety disorders or stuff like that.
It's just, I guess I don't really, I also don't really exact wording, but it's mainly just like people with autoimmune disorders, like they're just constantly like faced with a bunch of stress.
Okay.
And so she wants to do like kind of stress relief activities for them.
Yeah, and I think that like some environments, some classroom environments especially, can not help that. Like definitely.
Yeah, and also like, just kind of like not for this discussion thing, but like I talked to Nami about it.
Oh yeah.
The exec, like one of the executives of Nami, and he said that he would like completely be down to do something with ACA.
Oh, fun.
And so.
That's good. Oh yeah, we should.
Autoimmune Campus Alliance. So
we have 2 new partners / branches / we don't know exactly how they're wanting to stand with us, but
she wants it to be like kind of like a subdivision of DDA.
Yeah, so like branches of DDA. We also have Emma Friesen. I really hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I've never confirmed with her, but Emma Friesen. She founded Clubhouse, which is a neurodiverse friendly group, and it's like she wants to create a space where they can do activities that are neurodiverse friendly. So, for example, I thought this was really cool. She and another member, which is only a couple of them right now, went on a hike in some park, and it was supposed to be like friendly for people of all neurodiverse neurodiversity. So and like stuff like that, and Hoof and Horn trying to put on sensory friendly shows this year, which is Logan is working on. I think that's like really, really cool progress that we're making.
I think at the end
Not
of the
us,
day,
but
a lot
everybody.
of it also boils down to awareness. And, like, as someone who does not have a disability, I wouldn't think like if my first thoughts wouldn't be about like, if something is physically accessible, honestly, because like I can like, just climb stairs mindlessly. But I think just raising that awareness of like things that may not necessarily come to your mind that are like are other people have to think a lot about is like extremely important. I remember one time like Jay a while ago told me that it's like because part of me was like always hesitant to speak on behalf of other people and their experiences with disability, not being able to relate to it myself. It's also like it gets exhausting to always have to kind of justify your circumstances to other people. So kind of building that rapport and breaking down that like, wall between like people with disabilities and people without, and trying to just increase understanding, even if like the empathy is like harder to get at, is super important. Which is why I think like a physical space on campus is like would be ideal. But even before that, is that just getting like disability in more conversations is important. I think we have to make headway with that, which I'm really happy about. Sorry, I have to head out, but I hope you guys.
Thanks, DT.
Were you here last week?
I wasn't here.
So I'll come again. Welcome, Shreyas. Hope you guys stay around. So, have a great weekend.
Bye, DT. I had another topic, but I was hoping Trent would be here to talk about cinemability, but nobody here went to the cinemability screening. That's so sad, and it was packed too. So like you would think at least one of us would have gone, but it's okay. I kind of missed out. I had a rehearsal, but I should have just skipped rehearsal, honestly. Oh no. Yeah, exams. I mean, we're students, so. But Hannah and I were talking about disability representation in like, specifically performing arts, but like just media in general I feel like is related. And it's like, I'm curious to hear what y'all think. We were saying how a lot of, for example, dance constructed around this like ideal form, ideal like technique, body, etc. Like how ballet, you need to be like this really slender, like you can do all these things, and that's how ballet is like constructed. That's how to be a good ballet dancer, you need to be good at all these things, and like how disability being involved in some of these arts necessarily like changes, or like how we need to change these arts, or like our perception of like media. I really wish I went to cinemability because I was so interested. But yeah. Maybe I'll just watch it on YouTube afterwards. Or we could like hold a DDA screening for those who missed it too. It was 90 minutes, yeah. So at some point we could hold a DDA screening.
I think one thing about representation in media, there was a great show on ABC for 3 seasons. It got canceled in May, which is unfortunate. But it's called Speechless, and it was about this kid who is he has a disability and he's nonverbal. He uses a wheelchair, but he's in high school, and it's like about his life and like all the challenges that he faces. And I think it was great to be able to like see that on like a network TV, and like basically every night there was like a story that I really felt like I could relate to, and that like in a way that like I can relate to other shows, and also to see like his relationship with his age was great. Um, so yeah, that was. I think we're making progress generally. Unfortunate that it did get canceled. I think apparently it had low ratings.
Oh,
So
it's unfortunate.
yeah, that was a great show.
What was it called? Speechless?
It's called Speechless. That's on Hulu. I think.
Was it still on Hulu?
I think so.
I have Hulu. It's one of the few things that
Isn't it like with Spotify or what's
it comes with Spotify. Yeah, that's why I have it. Like I don't have Netflix because my parents won't pay for it. So they think
my parents, we had a family plan, and then I was like, when I came to college, I was like, I could have my own spot or my own Netflix. I love Netflix.
oh.
And they like told me like pay for everything after I came to college. And I was like, I'll pay for my Netflix. They were like, bro, it's cheaper for us to just.
It's just
pay
yeah.
for the family plan. I was like, okay, cool.
I want. I feel like it'd be a big time drain, but like I need to like reserve my time of like watching things.
Oh yeah, no, I have like every Thursday night I watch Netflix because I don't come from Friday.
Oh my god.
So every Thursday night is my Netflix night.
Again with the 3-day weekends.
You know, I refuse to meet any of my friends, and I'm like, guys, it's my new night. I'm watching Netflix.
Oh my god. So you just like blocked off your schedule. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I'm like, Netflix.
Yeah,
You need a night.
there's actually a show on Netflix which is called, I believe it's called Special. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like this guy, he has like a mild form of cerebral palsy,
Okay.
and he's also gay, and like it's about his life. Like the show starts off with him like pretending like his disability was due to like a car accident instead of like it being like a neurological and neuromuscular disability. So it's very interesting, and the especially interesting thing in this case is that the guy who created the show, who's also the guy who plays the character, he actually has a disability. So it's great to see that like actual like creative representation among creators as well. So.
Wait, I'm sorry. Why did he pretend that it was due to a car accident?
Well, because it was a mild form of cerebral palsy, so like it could be, you could kind of pass it off as a car accident, and then like it's like I don't know. I'm trying to remember exactly. I watched the show like a long time ago, and then unfortunately I never picked it back up again. But I think it was like. It was just easier to talk about it that way because like that's something again that people like can relate to more. It's like
yeah, I mean, I feel like it definitely invokes more of like a tragedy kind of thing. Whereas I just feel like that's typical to like empathize more with tragedy and less with just disability in general, which is like that doesn't make any sense to me once you think about it. I had some other topics. We don't have to talk. We already covered a lot, like disability and identity. I kind of covered this. It was like confidentiality, more of how I brought up this subject. I always think this is really interesting how we got those responses on the survey, and it was like, I don't want to go to cultural center because I don't want this like de-confidentialization. That's not a word, but you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to show that I have a disability.
People with invisible disabilities, they essentially don't want to be outed, I guess you could say.
Which I don't know.
I mean, I think it goes back to like not being comfortable with your identity, and that's I think one of the reasons why we want to have like a community center, because if we create a space where people can embrace that part of their identity, then the community can grow in the sense that more people will be able to speak out about these issues.
Right now, it's still like the thing you said about like the stigma, like that's still there, and they might not want to like kind of out their disability now. So like maybe once it is like created, then that stigma will start going down. They'll feel that people are being more accepted, and
don't know, but like honestly, we wouldn't even know until like something actually happens.
Yeah, because I mean, I think there are things that do affect like almost all people with disabilities, but if you don't have those people that are willing to come out and say like, oh, this affects me and I care about this issue, then like that's problematic for everybody. So I think yeah, we can create a space where people feel more comfortable to embrace that part of their identity, and I think that helps every person individually, but then it also helps us as a community in general.
Well, I think we can end our meeting a little early. You know, I was leaving time. We can leave time for reflection, but I also wanted to, but I was wanting to meet with exec at the end, because I had a few things I wanted to talk about, but none of exec. Deepti had to leave, and Trent didn't come. I wanted to talk to Trent. Ouch. Yeah, but we can keep we can just keep talking if we want, but I'm just gonna say we can end our live stream and things here, so everybody's okay with that. So thank you for everybody who tuned in on live streams and or watches our recordings. We have like some people watching our recorded live streams.
Yeah, it's like there's like 19 views.
Yeah, like I was
yeah, there were a lot of views.
Yeah.
So like
I think on this meetings, you said you should send a reminder out yesterday.
Oh, see, I didn't want to. My reminder that next week's meeting was like in the recap of.
Yeah, for people to forget.
Yeah, maybe I should just send it because I didn't want to like keep spamming people, because we always get those sign offs and I'm like, oops, sorry, but it's okay. I'll send a reminder next time. Yeah.
It might just be like that because on the weekends people tend to sleep in, so if they're not up by 11, they won't.
Yeah, Saturday morning, like some people, it's not great ideal for some people. I know.
It's like 11. It's not really
Well, for some people, it's morning.
I woke up at 10:40 and I texted him.
We have meeting day. I was like, yeah. Okay, I guess we'll end. Next week's meeting is going to be more of our traditional style, I guess. Like I'm going to try to have all the task force representatives / leaders, whatever we want to call, but people from each task force to come and present updates, really so that people who do come and want to know more about our task forces and get involved won't have a hard time just like jumping on a moving train, and because things are moving kind of fast and things get tangled in all this red tape stuff. I call it red tape stuff because it's like meetings and polls and stuff. But next week's meeting will be more of like presenting all that stuff. So, yay! Thanks for everybody for coming.